This is Sam Whitwer, and you are listening to Page Turners. They were not.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brennan Moore. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. Welcome to a larger world presented by Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. So, for my American viewers, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And so I wanted to take a moment to give thanks for certain things about Star Wars and certain creators behind Star Wars. As always, the number one person that should be thanked is the maker himself, George Lucas, for creating a world, a universe, a galaxy far, far away with incredible storytelling and incredible possibility. I think that what he did that's so special is not only to create a fun fantasy universe with spaceships and laser guns, but to create a mythical element, a philosophy with the Force that anyone of any faith or spiritual persuasion can understand on their own terms. Those of you who've been listening to this podcast know that I consider myself a religious person. And there are so many parallels between what I personally believe and the philosophy of the Jedi and the philosophy of the Force and the concepts of good and evil, redemption, and the ideas of what it means to choose the right, and so many other ideas. And when people ask, why do I keep coming back to Star Wars again and again? It's because of that philosophy, that spiritual philosophy that George Lucas created, or arguably did not create, but borrowed from the shared beliefs of religions the world over. And even if you're not necessarily a religious person, Star Wars can still speak to you. And for that, we must thank the maker, George Lucas. Another person I want to thank, because she's been on my mind lately, is Leslie Headland. For those of you who don't know, Leslie Headland is the creator behind the Acolytes. I've explained a few times that that show didn't really work for me uh, for many different reasons. But nonetheless, I think some of that may just be the discourse around the show as opposed to the show itself. Regardless, it's not a show that I'm inclined to want to go back to a lot. But the reason I want to thank Leslie Headland is that it was a very gutsy, very um, bold idea for a show that went in some directions that were really unexpected and arguably the most unique look at Star Wars, or one of the most unique looks we've ever had. Even though it didn't work for me, I do want to thank her because she made the show she wanted to make. And even though the show was discontinued, I'm glad that she made it because it really worked for a lot of people. And I'm glad that she was willing to do something unorthodox in Star Wars. Um, Also, big thanks, of course, to Dave Filoni, particularly for creating the Clone Wars, Rebels, and The Mandalorian. Three major installments in Star Wars, and particularly the Clone Wars for helping me to appreciate the prequel trilogy more by filling in some gaps that really worked to add depth to the saga. Not just depth, but to explain some things. Now, I mentioned Dave a few times, and I could go on about it, and I certainly have on this show. But needless to say, I definitely want to thank him for that. I'm very excited, of course, for the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which comes out now in less than 6 months. Certainly, we're looking forward to that. Another thank you I'd like to give is to Sean Levy and the team behind Starfighter. Now, even though it's not out yet, it's too early to judge it. The idea of getting Ryan Gosling in Star Wars is brilliant, I think, because he is, at the moment, like the hottest star on the planet right now. He is, as they say, Kenneth. and I can't wait for that. But as far as things that we've already seen, I do want to thank all the teams behind Visions Volume 3. The idea of anime Star Wars makes perfect sense, since Star Wars is heavily inspired by Japanese mythology, Japanese cinema, Japanese mythology, Japanese philosophy. So I'm very glad what they all did with Vision Season 3. There are so many people we could thank in Star Wars. But I do want to also say this. Thank you to Moses Ingram, who played the third sister, aka Riva, in the Kenobi series. She, I thought, was terrific, and it was a shame the way so many fan bros reacted. But I thank her for her performance, and I think it was terrific. And now that we're living in the Hayden Renaissance, much thank you to Anakin Skywalker himself, Hayden Christensen. The things that they've done with his character in Kenobi, and particularly in Ahsoka, is astounding. And I look forward to more in Ahsoka Season 2. Like I said, there's so many people I could thank, but that's where I want to leave it today. Miss Thanksgiving. Thank you to those who have brought so much joy and deep thought to the fandom and to the world by their creative efforts. And thank you all to listening to this podcast for 8 years. My name is Brennan Marr, that noisy Harry's my ventilator. Thank you for tuning into A Larger World, presented by Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. May the Force be with you.